Our signing day coverage continues. Defensive coordinator Todd Orlando joins us. Coach, thanks for the time. This is always a big day. You have some new names on your side of the ball. Tell us a little bit about this class from the defensive side. What were you looking for? What were you able to fill?
Yeah, so we came in and in the past it's been recruited a little bit different than kind of the system that we have in place. So the first immediate need that we want to do is get a hybrid outside linebacker so we could be multiple. And I thought we did that right out the gate with Lloyd Summerall. We were fired up, and then we came back and got DJ Harris later on during that time. Filled it up with a couple, filled it in with Stantavius Smith at defensive line, and then really had to go address the defensive backs. So when we went through every ounce of film, it was pretty fast and furious when we first got here. So myself and Kevin Patrick, KP, and I got into the building as we started to hire people, and we watched every kid on tape and tried to say to ourselves, okay, this is our system. He comes from working together, and we said, okay, this is what we have to go out and get. And it was hot and heavy. So we went out on the road, we tried to address those needs for the schematical part of it, and we ended up picking some great ball players up. And it kind of ties it in to what we're trying to get accomplished as we continue to go into the spring and evaluate these guys, because you're watching film, you don't really know the players yet because we were so heavy into recruiting. Now that we're back off the road and after the signing date, we'll have a chance to actually work with these guys. I know Gio has worked with them quite a bit. We'll see what they physically can do. We just made the evaluation off of film. And then later on in the process, as we get out of spring football, we'll continue to address the needs that we need later on.
That's a big point, is that this is not necessarily the end of the recruiting cycle. You go through spring ball, there's portal opportunities. You'll make those analyses after you get a chance to see the team on the field, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said beforehand, we do have an experienced group. I mean, when you take a look at the numbers, we do have some guys that stayed in the program, know quite a bit of football. But from our standpoint is to just see if their skill sets match up to our schematics, and do we have to move some guys around. So the only way to find that out is to go out and play football and to figure that through. You know, sometimes you get into situations where you come in and maybe you have some people that want to go to the transfer portal or any type of attrition that comes in, and you need to fill that up with bodies, because you're not going to be able to function very well if you're only one or two deep. From our standpoint, it was trying to find the best person for that spot, let the process continue on as we go into winter workouts and we go into spring football, and then reevaluate, and if we need to make some changes or need to get some more people into the program, we sure will do that.
Your defenses have been very aggressive, a lot of blitzes. Put points on the board, forced turnovers. Are those the key factors in defenses?
Absolutely, and I think what this comes down to is really being a complement to what your offense is too. If you're an up-tempo offense and you can go out in the field and you can score points, and then you can come back on defense and get 3 and outs or get turnovers or get quick stops and allow them to put their defense back on the field and go really fast and try to score again, I think you have to complement each other. And I think that's probably one of the things that my relationship with Coach Golish is like, I think he understands what we're trying to get accomplished. He wants to be ultra aggressive. I know Joel wants to be ultra aggressive. I myself want to be aggressive. We want to put a brand on that attracts people. I mean, really at the end of the day. But when you're looking at college football in terms of the actual yardage that you're perceived defensively, it's really not about that anymore. It's about getting stops, setting up field position, and turnovers especially, and flipping fields. So you can put our offense back on the field and really, in essence, try to wear somebody out as the game goes on.
What appealed to you about this job?
Well, it's Florida, you know, and that to me, and especially when you're talking about Tampa itself, I mean, this is a gold mine out here. And if you ever had the opportunity to just get around town and you see this, but I go back a little bit, and I'll date myself here, when I was at the University of Connecticut many moons ago. So this place was just going into 1A football. At UConn, we were 1AA going into 1A football, and we were probably along the same lines of coming up. And I had so much respect for this place in terms of what they did. And you know, you're talking about Matt Grothe, you're talking about all these guys that go into it, and you're talking about being at one point number 2 in the country. It's here. Okay, so I always look at it this way. I say, like, when you're choosing a job, number one, you got to love your boss. You know, you have to want to work for him and lay it on the line for him. And then you get to a point in your career where you want to go to a place to win championships. You don't want to go to a place and end up, you know, 6-6. And then the last thing is, can you sustain it through recruiting? And that's a key part of being down here. There's so many local players. There's so many people around here that want to be a part of this thing. And what we have to do is win. And you win, it'll solve a lot of problems, and you'll get the people that really should be representing this place. You'll get them on this campus.
What is your message to the players as you prepare for spring? Is this wide open competition in every
absolutely.
spot?
So we have to, I kind of told them, I said, listen, like, just for organization, we had to put a depth chart together, okay? So, but it is what it is. You're going to be judged for what you do from an accountability standpoint, for whether it's missing meals, whether it's missing class, go down the line. And then when you go out here, when Gio's competing with them in winter workouts, ultimately how you compete, how you pick things up is going to be a reflection of the depth chart. So organizationally, we got to get them lined up, but ultimately they're the guys responsible for the depth chart. And like I said beforehand, these are things that are, you know, they're non-contact. So when you go into actually putting the pads on and you watch, the game is completely different. And I think it'll be a moving depth chart. But the one thing that's like non-negotiable is we're going to run really, really hard to the football, and we're going to hit people. So if you're not willing to do that, you're going to be low on this as we continue to progress defensively.
What were the unique challenges about putting this class together in such a short time frame? I mean, this was quick.
Yeah, it was quick, and it was just making sure that, you know, there's so many unknowns. Fortunately for us, the majority of the guys that are on that list that we signed, we knew about, or at some point had touched them, or at some point were local kids that we knew a lot about. The difficult part is going out there trying to fill up needs with some of these guys that you might not necessarily know, and whether or not they're going to fit with us. And that was as we were acquiring coaches too. That's what made it even more difficult, as we were trying to hire guys, get them into the building. We were at one point, I think, like a 4-man band out across the country just hammering away. So really, really proud of the work that we did for the situation that we were in. And like I said beforehand, there'll be many more people me personally, that you'll see before we put that ball down in fall.
Coach, thanks. Appreciate your time. Good luck this year.
Appreciate you. Thank you.